السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله رب العالمين. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء، واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم، ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد، فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله، وخير الهدى هدى محمد صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وسلم، وشر الأمور محدثاتها، وكل محدثة بدعة، وكل بدعة ضلالة، وكل ضلالة في النار. Inshallah, we now start back with our book Al-Jawab, al-Kafi, or الداء, the disease and the cure, by Al-Imam Ibn al-Qayyim alayhi rahmatullah. And first and foremost, all praise and thanks are due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who facilitated for us to get together and go through and study this book. There is not much explanation of this book. The book explains itself. We are only reading the book and translating it. That's what we are doing actually. And the words of Al-Imam Ibn al-Qayyim, they are the words of someone who is well versed in the Qur'an and the Sunnah and the statements of the scholars, starting from the companions, then the tabi'een, then atba'ut tabi'een, up until his time alayhi rahmatullah. So in this book he truly gathered an excellent bunch of statements. Add that to his own words alayhi rahmatullah. I cannot thank Allah enough for facilitating for us to get together and go through the words of Al-Imam Ibn al-Qayyim in a time like this, in a city like this, in a country like this, in a masjid, one of the houses of Allah, where there are so many places but then they are not used, they are not frequented, and not much knowledge is being presented in there. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to facilitate for us and all other Muslims to take good care of knowing and studying the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the sunnah of his messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, going through the books of our pious early Muslims, the pious predecessors alayhim rahmatullah. The last that we did from the book of Al-Imam Ibn al-Qayyim, and I know some of you are following the book in Arabic, and we reached page 84 of the book, and we reached the section where he is going to start to talk about the evil, the ugly, the horrible effects of sins and disobediences. Al-Athar al-Qabiha lil-Ma'asi. This is what the reviser of the book have given as a title for this section. He says, للمعاصي من الآثار القبيحة المذمومة والمضرة بالقلب والبدن في الدنيا والآخرة ما لا يعلمه إلا الله. He says that sins, they have evil, dispraiseworthy effects that are harmful to the heart and the body in this world and in the next life, that which nobody knows except Allah. The evil effects of sins, nobody knows except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now he starts going through that. Amongst those, حرمان العلم, being deprived of knowledge. He said, فإن العلم نور يقذفه الله في القلب والمعصية تطفئ ذلك النور. For knowledge is light that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala throws into the heart. and the sin puts out that light. The sin puts out that light. Knowledge is a light that Allah throws into, that Allah casts into the heart. Many times in the Qur'an, and this has been mentioned a lot of times, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about people of knowledge. He calls them, or He speaks of them as utu al-ilm, those who have been given knowledge. Although knowledge, you achieve it by working hard to get it. But then we know that there are people who spend maybe so much time, they don't get the knowledge. And there are those who spend little time and they truly have been given knowledge. Why? Knowledge is a gift that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bestows. Allah grants people. You might spend so much time trying to get knowledge and you don't. While someone else, in a fraction of the time you spent, he gets it all. Same point that you're trying to get. Right? This is a fact. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made the people excel in this, and whomever Allah wants good for him, He will make him knowledgeable in the religion. He says here, when Ash-Shafi'i alayhi rahmatullah, he sat in front of Imam Malik and he read to him, he liked him. Imam Malik alayhi rahmatullah, he admired Ash-Shafi'i, he liked him. And he said, أعجبه ما رأى من وفور فطنته وتوقد ذكائه وكمال فهمه. He liked what he saw of him, of the abundant sharpness. He's very alert. He gets things very fast. توقد ذكائه. His cleverness is so brilliant he was. كمال فهمه. His understanding was complete. فقال, he said to him, إني أرى الله قد ألقى على قلبك نورا فلا تطفئه بظلمة المعصية. He said, I see that Allah has cast on your heart a light, so do not put it out by the darkness of disobedience. وقال الشافعي رحمه الله. This is from the lines of poetry that are attributed to Imam al-Shafi'i. And there are a number of lines of poetry that are attributed to Imam al-Shafi'i. Many of them are very nice, very nice. But some of them may be related to him with a chain, and some maybe not, but are attributed to him. These are from the lines that are famous. It says, شكوت إلى وكيع سوء حفظي. I complained to Waki'. This is a scholar of Islam who was his sheikh. I complained to Waki' the bad memory or bad memorization that he has, the bad memory. فأرشدني إلى ترك المعاصي. He guided me to leave out sins, to committing sins. وقال أعلم بأن العلم فضل. He said, know that knowledge is a bounty. وفضل الله لا يؤتاه عاصٍ. And the bounty of Allah is not given to someone who is disobedient. So one of the first evil consequences of committing sins is being deprived. You are prohibited from attaining knowledge. You want, but you are prevented. You are deprived of the knowledge. Why? Knowledge is light that Allah casts in the heart of the knowledgeable person, and the sins, they will work to put out that light. Next, he says, from the consequences, حرمان الرزق, being deprived of the provision. He said, في المسند إن العبد لا يحرم الرزق بالذنب يصيبه. Now we mentioned this hadith before, and it has some weakness in it, but the meaning is true. It says here that surely the servant is deprived the provision, the sustenance, the whatever you get, as a means of living, you are deprived of that because of a sin that he commits. And this hadith has passed. قد تقدم. He said, كما أن تقوى الله مجلبة للرزق فترك التقوى مجلبة للفقر فما استجلب رزق الله بمثل ترك المعاصي. He says, exactly like the piety of Allah is something that brings knowledge, that brings provision, brings sustenance, then leaving piety is a cause leading to bringing poverty. So the provision of Allah cannot be brought or cannot have a cause to bring it like the cause of leaving, abandoning, commission of sins. Right? Those words sometimes they are beautiful in the Arabic, and it's good to be kept like that. And those who are trying to capture or learn or memorize some phrases or some sentences that are beautiful, then this is part of that. Al-Imam al-Qayyim has a lot of that actually. So he says, كما أن تقوى الله مجلبة للرزق, like the piety of Allah is a cause bringing provision. ترك التقوى مجلبة للفقر, leaving piety is a cause bringing poverty. فما استجلب رزق الله بمثل ترك المعاصي. The provision of Allah cannot be brought forth towards you, that is, with something like leaving sins. And this meaning is in the Qur'an, of course. تقوى يرزقه من حيث لا يحتسب. طيب. Allah provides for him from means that he did not expect. That's what it says in the Qur'an for the one who has taqwa. من يتق الله يجعل له مخرجا. The one who has piety towards Allah, piety of Allah, Allah will make a way out for him. From any problem, Allah will make a way out for him. ويرزقه من حيث لا يحتسب. Provides for him from means or areas or ways that he did not expect, he did not have on his mind. The third point, those points now, the one the Sheikh Abu al-Harith, the one who revised this book, he put these in point form. So Imam al-Qayyim did not put titles and points, but he tried to number them. The third one, from the evil consequences of sins and disobediences, he says, منها وحشة يجدها العاصي في قلبه بينه وبين الله لا توازنها ولا تقارنها لذة أصلا ولو اجتمعت له لذات الدنيا بأسرها لم تفي بتلك الوحشة. He says, from the evil effects of sins is this wahsha. Wahsha is a sense of alienation, a strangeness. You feel gloomy, you feel uncomfortable. This is the wahsha, right? You go to a place you don't know for the first time, right? You feel some sort of strangeness. You feel alienated. You are an alien, right? This is how you feel. You feel like a foreigner. The feeling or the sense of being a foreigner, right? A stranger. That type of gloominess that is caused because of that. This is the wahsha, right? Wahsha. The opposite of that is uns. When you have company that you are happy with, right? That's why if you know the name Anis, right? Anis. Many people, they call him Anis. Anis is the one that you sit with and talk to, travel with. He's like providing you a feeling of comfort, right? You have someone who is with you and you feel comfortable with him. You don't feel lonely by yourself, right? That is uns, the opposite of wahsha. Now he says about this wahsha, this sense of alienation that the sinner finds, he says, he finds it in his heart between him and Allah, And this alienation, this feeling of strangeness, they cannot be compared. It cannot be, measured or compared to any joy, period. Right? He said, even if all of the joys in the worldly life gathered together for him, they cannot fulfill that void, that feeling of alienation and estrangeness. All the joys of the world cannot remove that feeling that is resulting from the sin. He said, though, وَهَذَا أَمْرٌ لَا يُحِسُّ بِهِ إِلَّا مَنْ فِي قَلْبِهِ حَيَاةٌ. This is a matter that no one can sense, no one can feel, except the one who has in his heart life. And someone might be committing sins, but then there are still heartbeats, right? But there are those who, like this talk is like you're talking in a different language. They don't get a word from what you're saying. This is what he's trying to say here. He says, فَلَوْ لَمْ تُتْرَكْ الذُّنُوبِ. He mentions a line of poetry which says, وَمَا لِجُرْحٍ بِمَيِّتٍ إِيلَامُ. This is a famous line of poetry by Al-Mutanabbi. It says, it starts, he mentioned only the last part of it, but the first part it says, مَنْ يَهُنْ يَسْهُلُ الْهَوَانُ عَلَيْهِ. The one who becomes low, or lowers himself, right? Accepts for himself to be lowered. Yahun, he becomes low, therefore. He accepts it for himself, therefore he becomes low. He says, يَسْهُلُ الْهَوَانُ عَلَيْهِ. Lowliness becomes easy for him. Right? Then he says, مَا لِجُرْحٍ بِمَيِّتٍ إِيلَامُ. That the wound has no painful effect on the dead person. Right? So if you accept to be treated in a low way, you accept for yourself low things, it becomes, it becomes comfortable with lowliness, with being in the bottom. Therefore, become like someone who is dead. If you scratch or wound that person who is dead, he doesn't feel that. Right? That's why he says, nobody feels this except someone who has in his heart some life. That's how it is. Otherwise, the one who's dead cannot feel the pain of the wound. He said, so if the sins are not left except out of being cautioned, being afraid, taking the means and measures, so that you will not fall into this feeling of estrangeness, wahsha. If you do not leave sins except being away, trying to be away from that feeling of estrangeness, لَكَانَ الْعَاقِلُ حَرِيًّا بِتَرْكِهَا. Then the wise person, right, he would be most encouraged. He would be more deserving or more likely to avoid those sins, just in order for him not to fall in that very painful feeling of alienation between you and Allah, and between you and yourself and the people, as he will explain more. Right? So first he starts this alienation between him and Allah. He said, شكى رجل إلى بعض العارفين وحشة يجدها في نفسه فقال له إذا كنت قد أوحشتك الذنوب فدعها إذا شئت واستأنسي. He said to him, here one of the people who are most knowledgeable of Allah, he complained, a man complained to him about this feeling of wahsha, strangeness, loneliness, gloominess that he finds within himself. So he said to him, if the sins, he put it in a line of poetry, he said, if the sins put you in this feeling or sense of gloominess and alienation, then leave them, da'ha, leave those sins then, and come to comfort or become comfortable, right? استأنس, have something that will, if you leave sins, then uns will come. Now, you will seek to become away from this feeling of alienation. So he started with the wahsha, this alienation that the person finds between him and Allah. Next is الوحشة التي تحصل بينه وبين الناس. This alienation, gloominess that happens between him and the people. ولا سيما أهل الخير, especially the people of goodness. فإنه يجد وحشة بينه وبينه. For he finds a feeling of alienation, strangeness between him and them. Right? And this is very true. You know how sometimes some of those people, if they know that they're going to people who are religious, who are practicing, they they have to do a lot of preparation for this, meeting and being around those people who are, practicing religious, praying, right? They have this feeling within them. He says, كلما قويت تلك الوحشة بعد منهم ومن مجالستهم. The more this feeling of alienation grows bigger or stronger or intensifies, then he stays farther away from them and from sitting with them. وحرم بركة الانتفاع بهم. He will be deprived of the blessing of benefiting from them or through them. وقرب من حزب الشيطان. He will get closer to the party of Satan. بقدر ما بعد من حزب الرحمن, according to how much he went far away from the party of the most merciful. وتقوى هذه الوحشة حتى تستحكم. This alienation grows stronger or bigger, intensifies up until it becomes so intense, تستحكم, becomes complete. فتقع بينه وبين امرأته وولده وأقاربه وبينه وبين نفسه فتراه مستوحشا بنفسه. He says that this will intensify until it happens between him and his wife and his children and his relatives, blood relatives, and between him and himself. So you find him having a sense of alienation, estrangeness, gloominess with his own self. مستوحشا بنفسه. قال بعض السلف, some of the pious predecessors, they said, إني لأعصي الله فأرى ذلك في خلق دابتي وامرأتي. I surely disobey Allah, so I see this in the character, in the behavior of my wife and my riding animal. Right? He finds the effects of that in this. Right? So, if the car does not want to start, if it starts and breaks up on the way, if the wife starts bothering him and speaking back or talking back or putting a lot of pressure on him, he knows, that that's the effect of the sin that I have committed. He finds that this alienation, this estrangeness, this sense of being a foreigner with his own wife, with his riding animal, with his children, and so on and so forth. He said, وَمِنْهَا تَعْسِيرُ أُمُورِهَا عَلَيْهِ. Number 5, amongst those evil effects of sins, his affairs become difficult for him. فَلَا يَتَوَجَّهُ لِأَمْرٍ إِلَّا يَجِدُهُ مُغْلَقًا دُونَهُ. He does not direct himself to a matter except he finds it closed up for him, or متعسرا عليه, or very difficult for him. وهذا كما أن من اتقى الله جعل له من أمره يسرا. This is like the one who is pious, who has piety to Allah, then Allah makes for him his affair, He makes it easy for him. جعل له من أمره, as in the Qur'an. من يتق الله يجعل له من أمره يسرا. right? Makes it easy for him. فَمَنْ عَطَّلَ التَّقْوَى جَعَلَ لَهُ مِنْ أَمْرِهِ عُسْرًا. So the one who does not act upon taqwa, he puts it on hold, he puts taqwa on hold, then Allah makes his affair difficult for him. عَطَّلَ, right? In the terms of the people who use the electronics and the computer, you put it in the inhibit mode, right? You put taqwa on the inhibit mode, it's not working, it's not doing anything, right? You put it on the inhibit mode. If you do that, then your affairs become difficult for you. He says, وَيَا لِلَّهِ الْعَجَبِ كيف يجد العبد أبواب الخير وأبواب المصالح مسدودة عنه وطرقها معسرة أو معسرة عليه وهو لا يعلم من أين أتى وهو لا يعلم من أين أتي. He says, and he is wondering so much. Oh Allah, how much I wonder, he says. How is it that the servant finds the doors of goodness, the doors of benefits completely closed up for him, and its ways, they are very difficult for him to achieve, while he does not know from where was he attacked, from where he was hit, right? He was hit, he's saying, because of the sins that he has committed. And I remember our Sheikh Hussein al-Awaisha, Hafidhahu Allah, when he was invited here, he came and he gave lectures. He was asked by someone about he's asking Allah and dua is not answered. So he was saying this could happen for a wisdom that the answer is delayed, but then if you're always asking about different things and no dua is answered, you need to check yourself. What are you doing? You are doing something wrong. Because Allah answers the dua. So if you are finding yourself always closed up, nothing is being answered, well, you need to check out what you are doing, right? Here, Al-Imam ibn al-Qayyim alayhi rahmatullah, he says something similar. If you find that the ways to goodness are closed up for you, the channels are blocked and or very difficult, then how is it that you don't know where is it that you are being hit? What is it that caused this problem for you? You should know that this is because of sins and disobediences, as this is one of the evil effects of committing sins, and that is that your affairs become difficult for you. You do not go to anything you want to achieve. You do not direct yourself towards any new thing or a project, except you find it either blocked completely, the avenues are blocked, or you can go through, but it's very, very difficult. If this is the case, you need to check yourself and repent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He says, وَمِنْهَا, number 6, ظُلْمَةٌ يَجِدُهَا فِي قَلْبِهِ حَقِيقَةً يُحِسُّ بِهَا كَمَا يُحِسُّ بِظُلْمَةِ اللَّيْلِ الْبَهِيمِ إِذَا ادْلَهَمْ. He says that part of this evil consequences of sins, darkness that he finds, that he senses in his heart, a real darkness, reality. He feels it like he feels the darkness, the extreme darkness of the night when it really, really gets dark. Idlaham becomes pitch black. So this darkness of the sin becomes in his heart or for his heart like the real sensed darkness to his eye, right? The person who cannot see, أعمى, right? أعمى البصر, he is blind in eyesight. The heart has sight also, insight, which they call basira, right? Insight, right? This is the seeing of the heart. So like the person who's blind, يعني his eyesight is black, يعني dark, he doesn't see. There is darkness that happens to the heart that causes the heart not to have insight, not to see and understand. For he says, الطاعة نور والمعصية ظلمة. For the obedience is light and disobedience is darkness. كلما قويت الظلمة ازدادت حيرته. Every time the darkness increases, then his confusion, his state of being confused and perplexed, it increases and intensifies. حتى يقع في البدع والضلالات والأمور المهلكة وهو لا يشعر. To a point that he falls into innovations, misguidances, and affairs that are destructive affairs, while he does not feel that, he does not sense it. كأعمى خرج في ظلمة الليل يمشي وحده. Like a blind person who went out in the darkness of the night walking all alone by himself. وتقوى هذه الظلمة حتى تظهر في العين. This darkness intensifies up until it emerges, it appears on the eye. ثم تقوى حتى تعلو الوجه. Then it intensifies up until it covers up the face. وتصير سوادا فيه يراه كل أحد, and becomes blackness in the face that everyone can see. Then he mentions a statement, he attributes it to Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma, and Imam al-Qayyim, also Imam ibn Taymiyyah, his Shaykh rahimahullah. They mention this report in different places in their books, but according to the revisers of the book, Sheikh Ali and others, they could not find the statement of Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma, but there is a statement similar to it that are attributed to some of the people of the past. Anyways, it's a very nice statement. I'm sure you have heard it before. It says, إن للحسنة ضياء في الوجه ونورا في القلب وسعة في الرزق وقوة في البدن ومحبة في قلوب الخلق. It says, surely the good deed has illumination on the face, a light in the heart, and expansion in the provision, and strength in the body, and love in the hearts of the creation. وإن للسيئة سوادا في القلب، سوادا في الوجه، وظلمة في القلب، ووهنا في البدن، ونقصا في الرزق، وبغضة أو بغضة في قلوب الخلق. It says here that surely the evil deed has blackness on the face, and darkness in the heart, and weakness in the body, and diminishment, lack of provision, and baghdatan, hate in the hearts of the creation. وَلِيَذُ بِاللَّهِ. That because of the sin, those things happen. The light or illumination, ضياء, illumination or blackness that's showing up on the face. Light or darkness in the heart. Expansion or the lack of that in your rizq, provision, in your sustenance. And weakness or strength in the body, and either love or hate in the hearts of the people. The love is from Allah. So if Allah loves someone, He calls on to Jibreel and He commands him to love that person. And then Jibreel calls upon the dwellers of the heaven and he commands them to love him. Then love will be put for that person on earth, right? So this is the case, yani. This is the meaning of an authentic hadith in Bukhari and others, right? So this is the case with the sin here or the obedience. He says, ومنها, number 7, أن المعاصي توهن القلب والبدن, that disobediences, they weaken the heart and the body. As for them weakening the heart, فأمر ظاهر, this is a matter that is clear, apparent. بل لا تزال توهنه حتى تزيل حياته بالكلية. Rather, those sins and disobediences, they continue to weaken the heart up until it or they remove its life completely. They completely remove the life of the heart. As for them, the sins, weakening the body, أما وهنها أو وهنها للبدن, فإن المؤمن قوته من قلبه. The believer, his strength is from his heart. وكلما قوي قلبه قوي بدنه. Every time his heart becomes stronger, his body becomes stronger. وأما الفاجر, as for the wicked person, فإنه وإن كان قوي البدن, he is, although he would be strong in terms of body, of a body, فهو أضعف شيء عند الحاجة, then he is the weakest of a thing at the time of need. You find him big and tall and muscle, but then when the time calls for using this strength, it's gone. He cannot do anything, right? He said, فتخونه قوته أحوج ما يكون إلى نفسه. His strength betrays him, lets him down at a time when he is most in need of it to himself, of that, of himself, يعني being strong and using his body. He said, وتأمل قوة أبدان فارس والروم كيف خانتهم أحوج ما كانوا إليها وقهرهم أهل الإيمان بقوة أبدانهم وقلوبهم. He said, examine how the strength of the bodies of Faris and Ar-Rum, the Persians and the Romans, how it betrayed them, how it let them down, their strength. أحوج ما كانوا إليها, time when they are most in need of it. And the people of faith, the companions radiallahu anhum, they compelled them, they beat them by the strength of their bodies and their hearts. The comment in the footnote, it says, وَالْيَوْمَ الْعَكْسُ, and today it's the opposite, right? Unfortunately, inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Number 8, he says, وَمِنْهَا حِرْمَانُ الطَّاعَةِ. From the evil consequences of the sins is that they will deprive one of obedience. فلو لم يكن للذنب عقوبة إلا أنه يصد عن طاعة تكون بدله ويقطع طريق طاعة أخرى فينقطع عليه بالذنب طريق ثالثة ثم رابعة وهلم جرا فتنقطع عنه بالذنب طاعات كثيرة. He says, him being deprived of obedience. So if the sin has no punishment except that it turns one away from an obedience that will be replacing it, it will turn you from an obedience that will replace that sin, and because of that sin, it will cut off the way to another obedience. So by the sin, it will be cutting off a third way, then a fourth way, and so on so forth. So because of the sin, many good deeds, many acts of obediences will be cut off from him, will be blocked. The avenues to the good deeds will be blocked. Every one of these obediences, they are better for him from this worldly life and what's on it, right? كل واحدة منها خير له من الدنيا وما عليها. You see, the one who does not wake up for Fajr sets up the alarm to his work time, always at 7:30 or 8. Summer, winter, spring, it doesn't matter. That's the time and he wakes up, right? And if he wakes up, he doesn't even pray. Some of them, they wake up, they pray, but some of them, they don't, right? Now, those who wake up, right, if they just pray the sunnah, the 2 rak'at of Fajr, that Rasulullah ﷺ said about it, خَيْرٌ مِّنَ الدُّنْيَا وَمَا عَلَيْهِ, is better than this worldly life and what's on it, right? So, then they don't pray Fajr. And those who don't pray, do you think they will do adhkar al-sabah after that, right? Let alone for them praying salat al-duha and on, you know, the different things. So one disobedience, it cuts off, it blocks the avenues to many other good deeds, many other obediences. The one obedience of those good deeds is better for him than this worldly life and what's on it, right? So he left it, in this case, Salatul Fajr, he left it for how much time of sleep? 1 hour, 2 hours? How much time of sleep was he deprived, right? And is it worth being cut off from all of these good deeds and obediences to Allah? And so on and so forth, the same for the other disobediences that will block one from doing a lot of good deeds. He says, وَهَذَا كَرَجُلٌ أَكَلَ أَكْلَةً أَوْجَبَتْ لَهُ مَرْضَةً طَوِيلَةً مَنَعَتْهُ مِنْ عِدَّةِ أَكَلَاتٍ أَطْيَبَ مِنْهَا وَاللَّهُ الْمُسْتَعَانُ أو أطيب منها. He said, this is like a man who ate food, who ate a meal. This led to a lengthy period of sickness that stopped him from many other meals that are even better than that meal. And Allah al-Musta'an, from Allah we seek help, right? And I think this is a proverb also, they say, the Arabs, رُبَّ أَكْلَةٍ مَنَعَتْ أَكَلَاتٍ. How many of a meal that prevented you from having many other meals, right? So this is the way, you eat one meal, maybe you like, but then because you ate more than what you should or something wrong with it, then you got sick, and because of that sickness you left all of the other good meals that you like, right? Likewise, the disobedience here is something that you do, and this makes you miss a lot of other good deeds because of that one disobedience. Like that one meal that prevented you from the so many other much more delicious meals that you want to eat, right? Wallahu al-Musta'an. The next thing, we will leave it for next time because it's more longer of a subject, but it says منها أن المعاصي تقصر العمر وتمحق بركته ولا بد. That disobediences, they shorten the lifespan and they destroy or they remove, they make the blessings of it, the barakah, vanish. The blessing of your life, of your lifespan, of your lifetime. It makes, the sin makes it vanish, right? ولا بد. It's a must. There is no running away from that, he says. فإن البر كما يزيد في العمر فالفجور يقصر العمر. He said, righteousness, exactly as it will lengthen, it will increase your lifespan, so then wickedness, disobedience, will shorten the lifespan. We will stop here, inshallah, and next time we will start with this one, inshallah ta'ala. And we forgot to mention the date of today. It was October 3rd, 2016, and This is matching the 20th of Dhul Hijjah, 20th of Dhul Hijjah, 1436. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to facilitate for us to continue with these sessions. And I know we have 3 topics. So after Salat al-Isha, inshallah, we will inshallah continue with the hadith and the seerah. We'll see how much we can do of that inshallah ta'ala. جزاكم الله خيرا. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت